Hey, what's up, guys? Some of you are still struggling with game settings for your Sony 900E, your 930E, 940E. So this is primarily for the Sony 900 series. Some of you are finding that some of the calibrations or settings you're finding online are either way too out there in terms of saturation, they don't look great on your display, or the professional calibrations that you're seeing, whether it's artthings.com, HDTV tests, digital trends, things like that, tend to be a little bit too timid, and you're not loving the way that picture looks. So there's a few things in the settings that you can mess around with and tweak that you don't have to go hardcore on, that do make a difference and could add some of that pop. And there's a few ways that you can balance them. So just for myself, this is Modern Warfare Remaster on the Sony PS4 Pro. This game is not native 4K or anything, so it's a good quality game, but I was messing with some of the settings, and at its best, using professional settings that people use online, the game looks good but can look pretty bland. And you guys are going to find, even with movie mode and movie settings, you'll find a lot of those settings to be very bland, but they're very even in terms of their quality, meaning they don't take a lot of risks. The backlights are really, really low. So quickly, for a game like this, it's always good to also use the gamma slider in-game per game. Now, this isn't always accurate, by the way. For instance, this is Call of Duty's. It's usually pretty decent. Don't mind the blooming, but that barely visible, it's usually a good indicator that you're on the right track. If that light gray bar is very visible, then the TV is too bright. So back into the picture settings really quickly. What I do change is when I'm out of HDR, I do not have my backlight all the way up. I don't want it to be washed out. So I keep it between 25 and 10 for non-HDR content. Guys, we don't want to get hung up on peak brightness and jamming the TVs as bright as we can get them if we lose the depth. Color, this is saturation. Go as high as you want before things get cartoony. I like it at 55 typically. Advanced settings, this is where you can start changing things. I have contrast at 95. I don't like the white area clipping. I do like gamma at -1. Black adjust I do like on high. But this is what I do change when I want a little bit of pop. Advanced contrast enhancer, I will turn on. I will never really turn it on high all the way, simply because it makes the blacks a little crushed and it just isn't quite as pleasing. It is a little sharper, but it just has, I don't know, it has a lot of artifacting. So I leave it at low. Gives me that little bit of bump. We can go from low to off. Not a ton, but enough to give you that little bit of punch. Auto local dimming is always on high. Extended dynamic range, guys, behaves a lot like advanced contrast enhancer. In some games, it will make things pop. In other games, it will make those artifacts. On this game, I want a little bit more pop. I will leave it on high. Now, in color, live color on non-HDR content sometimes makes things look very, very orange or very, very cartoony. I find that in this game, having it off does make it look kind of gray, kind of takes away the detail a little bit. But that's how it was intended. On high, right away it turns into cartoon land. So I find that low is a nice mixture. However, then I go into my color temperature and I go to neutral. If I keep it on too warm, or expert, and then I have live color on, it just gets to be very artificial. So if you're going to use live color, even on low, I would go up to my color temperature and put that on something like neutral or cool to kind of balance it out. So, these are just a couple little settings you can tweak. Clarity, if you want to mess around with reality creation, you can. Put it on auto, put it on manual, move it up until you start seeing some artifacting. But for the most part, I leave reality creation alone unless the content is of low quality. But those are a couple of settings that you can tweak in game mode that will add a little bit of punch to the picture, and you can find that happy medium in between the professional calibrators and us guys in the basements chilling. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. Thank you as always, and I will talk to you soon.